In this edition of 2020 Dale Trail Markers, we go to New Hampshire, where Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders has officially filed for the first-in-the-nation primary. Sanders signed the paperwork before a crowd of supporters at the New Hampshire State House on Thursday. He won the primary by 22 points back in 2016. And recent polling suggests he's still the favorite among likely voters there. The latest CNN University of New Hampshire poll gives Sanders a narrow lead over rival Senator Elizabeth Warren. Speaking to reporters after the filing, he addressed comments made by Joe Biden's campaign that seemed to show the former vice president is open to accepting support from super PACs.
If my memory is correct, Joe Biden once said, and I'm paraphrasing, is that you got to be careful about people who have super PACs and who they will end up being responsible for. And in this campaign, Joe I understand that has not done particularly well in getting a lot of donations from working class people. We have received more donations than any candidate in the history of the United States of America at this point in an election. Joe has not had that result, and he is now forced to go to billionaires and multimillionaires to get his funding through a super.
2020 campaign reporter Kara Cordy joins me now from Claremont, New Hampshire. She was at a rally Senator Sanders held after filing for the primary. Kara, this is a strong weapon now formulating that Senator Sanders can use against the former vice president's campaign. What else did he have to say about his own fundraising?
Yeah, it is a strong weapon, Errol, and as strong as it is, the senator believes it has high utility. Since we heard about these reports of the Biden campaign possibly embracing a super PAC a week ago, Senator Sanders has used this line about not wanting, not having, nor needing a super PAC. He's used that every day since this story came out a week ago. So he knows exactly what he's doing. He knows that it creates contrast between himself and the vice president. In terms of fundraising moving forward, this is the bread and butter of the Sanders campaign. They are what they call a people-powered movement. The senator, as you heard there, likes to say that they have had 1 million individual contributions. They were the first Democratic campaign to reach that milestone this time around. He also will always mention that the average campaign donation is $16. He says that people, these are small dollar donors from working class people who every week or every month factor into their budget to donate to the Sanders campaign. And what's really important about those figures, those small dollar figures, the Sanders campaign this past third quarter fundraising, they raised more than $33 million, was the most of any of the Democrats in the field. 99.9% of the people that gave to Sanders' campaign this last quarter can give again. They have not reached that FEC maximum of $2,800. So there's reason to believe that if Bernie Sanders can raise $33 million this quarter, what's stopping him from doing that, if not maybe even more, if his success grows this next quarter? That's $33 million versus Vice President Biden's $9 million. So this is this line of no super PACs and small dollar donors is a really strong one for Sanders.
And what's also interesting is that on Wednesday you have this announcement from Twitter that it will ban the majority of political advertising from its platform. Critics calling that decision a restriction of free speech, but the company's CEO Jack Dorsey argues that political reach on his platform should be earned, not paid for. I just want you to listen to what Senator Sanders had to say when he was asked his opinion on that news item. Let's listen.
The U.S. Congress has been woefully negligent in dealing with how we deal with incredibly powerful entities like Facebook and Twitter. And we cannot ignore those realities and the power of those entities, which are now controlled by private individuals. But here's the problem: is one guy who runs Twitter wakes up in the morning and says, "This is what I'm going to do." Wow, that's a lot of power for one person to have.
So he says, you know, Congress has been inadequate in coming up with a policy. But what is Senator Sanders' position on how to manage political ads on social media, and if, as Senator Warren suggests, these giants need to be broken up?
Yeah, Errol, in the longer version of that answer, he also said what you said in your question, which is that he's worried that this could be an infringement on free speech. He said it's a complicated issue, but no surprise from this Democratic socialist. He believes that companies, the power of these companies should not lie in one person or a few people on a board. He believes that employees should be should be 45% at least of a company's board of directors. So not surprising to hear him call out Jack Dorsey there. Now, in 2018, on the Senate floor, Senator Sanders introduced the Stop Bad Employers by Zeroing Out Subsidies plan. If that sounds long, it's because if you condense it to an acronym, it stands for the Stop Bezos plan, the Stop Jeff Bezos plan. So we often hear from Senator Sanders calling out Jeff Bezos and others who run these extremely successful American companies, and now Jack Dorsey is just another one on that list.
I mentioned Senator Elizabeth Warren becoming known on the campaign trail for having a plan for just about everything, but she has yet to release details of her health care policy. She has said in the past she's willing to work with Senator Sanders when it comes to Medicare for All. What do we know about any potential collaboration between the two?
Yeah, we haven't really seen anything or heard anything to believe that they're actually collaborating on what her eventual healthcare plan is. But since the beginning of this campaign, senior Sanders advisors have told me that the biggest hurdle for Bernie Sanders in this 2020 election is defending his progressive turf. They believe it is paramount importance for Bernie Sanders to share with voters that he is basically the originalist when it comes to these progressive ideals, that he, of course, wrote the damn bill for Medicare for All, and that he has been preaching and believing in these progressive ideals for his entire career. So as we wait for Senator Elizabeth Warren's plan, the Sanders campaign has continued to say what they have this whole time, which is that Bernie Sanders wrote the bill for Medicare for All, and that he is the ultimate champion for this issue. If you listen to Senator Nina Turner, who is one of Bernie Sanders' campaign co-chairs, she often tells crowds, why would you buy the copy when you can have the original? And that is often considered to be a comment on Elizabeth Warren, the copy, versus Senator Bernie Sanders, the original.
And a clarification for viewers, as Kara says, Sanders wrote the damn bill. That's an allusion to when he said those words at a debate. Kara doesn't usually use such colorful language in person anyway.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Errol.
Thank you very much, Kara. Appreciate it.